That is the RMR Type 2 RM06. So the Trijicon RMR is probably one of the most widely known and durable pistol mounted optics out there, but it's not the only one by far. That is the Holosun 507C V2. They're now on the X2 model and they have red and green. Now these are two that I wanted to compare because one, I get a ton of questions, and two, they are two of the most durable optics out there in the market today. If you've ever watched any of the durability testing, both on the 507 series and the RMR, you know they can take an absolute beating out there on the street. The world of pistol mounted optics has absolutely exploded. Specifically, the Trijicon RMR was originally designed as a miniature red dot for rifles, but of course we decided to start throwing those things on pistols because good is just not good enough. Why not take something to the next level? Now with that explosion in the red dot world comes a lot of options in every different price point, and of course every different quality point as well. Besides these two being some of the most durable ones out there on the market today, they are the ones we also get the most questions about here. And people always want to know which one or the other. Some of that is going to depend on what you may need it for, and some of that is going to depend on what your bank account looks like. Either way, we're going to get into the similarities and differences because there are some vast differences between the two, both in design and functionality between them. So you guys will have a really good understanding of which one may fit your needs. If you are here for the first time today, consider subscribing and turning those bell notification icons on if you like getting that unbiased information on that 2A swag that we all love so much. And for everybody, if at any point you think I've deserved it, go ahead and give that video a like. And talking about the video, I want to thank a few of my Patreons here that made this video possible today, and that is going to be Jason, Frank, Aaron, and Andrew. You guys have been a massive support to the channel, and I cannot thank you enough. We're gonna go ahead and get right into these things, go over the specs, talk about some of the range footage, how they perform, and go over some positives and negatives on them, of course, so you guys will have a much better understanding of which one may fit your needs. If you're interested in anything you see here today, I will leave some links down below for you if you're interested. And you can always check out my website where everything will be posted, if I can't post that stuff here, at tacticalconsideration.com. We're gonna go ahead and get into both of these optics right now. Let's go ahead and jump into these optics, and we're going to get started here with the Holosun 507C. This is the version 2. There is the X2 out now. The difference between those is going to be, instead of the two buttons like that vertically on there, they had to go back to the horizontal style like on this one right here because they got sued by Trijicon. And you'll kind of see that those buttons look very similar. So that's why there is a slight difference. As far as the specs on this, we're going to get into the good stuff that you need to know, but we're not going to do every single little tiny thing. So 7075 aircraft grade aluminum on the housing. You do have that solar panel up top for that dual power source. The battery on this one is side mounted right there. You can see the tray, and it is going to give you 50,000 hours of use. It is a CR1632 battery, and then it's very easy to replace, as you can see there. As far as the glass, you can see that it have a little bit of a red hue to it. The reason that's on there is a multi-coating, so it helps with fog, scratch resistant, and so that actual dot can be projected up on the glass. Speaking of the dot, you have a couple of different options when it comes to the settings on this. You can have a 2 MOA dot only, or you can have the 2 MOA dot and the 32 MOA circle. And I'll put something up over here so you can kind of see what that is going to look like. Very much like the EOTech reticle. So it is parallax free, so it's unlimited eye relief, and you can see and not have that dot move around as you are moving and out there on the range. So you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. As far as the settings go, you've got 10 daytime settings, which are going to be adjusted by the buttons here on the side. And you do have 2 night vision settings as well. You also have automatic adjustments if you want that, or you have lockout to where you adjust it yourself. And you're also going to have that shake awake technology where it powers itself down, and then just touching it like that will power it back up to where it was. As far as the Holosun goes, you're going to get a couple of different screws, and you do not need a sealing plate on the bottom because the battery is side mounted, but it is the RMR footprint, so it shares the same pattern as this optic here. Moving into the Trijicon RMR, this is the Type 2, so we got a couple different things going on here with this one. This is a patented design of the hood right here, and that is why it is the most durable one that's out right now, is because of how that is designed. Talking about the battery on this one, the battery is mounted up underneath, so you can kind of see there's a little silver plate up underneath there. That seals it so the battery is going to be waterproof. The Holosun is IPX67 waterproof, and the Trijicon, depending on your sealing plate, may or may not be waterproof. So one of the things you need to take into account there is an appropriate sealing plate and the appropriate torque on your screws up there. You do have to buy the sealing plate and those screws separately. The battery on that is going to be 2032. The battery life on this one is going to be about 4 years according to Trijicon, and that is at setting 4 of 8. So you do have 8 settings, which is super bright, and you do have night vision settings on this one, the same as the Holosun. Oh, again, on the RMR, you're gonna have that multi-coated lens. It is a little bit more blue than the Holosun maybe, but it is definitely a solid coating. Again, for that projected laser beam in there, you have your windage and elevation adjustments. All right, lost my overhead light, but we are back. So your adjustments, you can see you can have your positive adjustment for brighter on the right-hand side, and the lower brightness setting on the left-hand side. Again, very easy to get to, reach in, reach over like that. You can make your adjustments while not having to really break your primary hand grip. Nice solid feedback on there, works quite well. This does have auto brightness as well as manual, depending on how you want to set it up, but it does not have the shake awake technology. As far as the dot goes in here, you've got a couple of different options. You can have a 3 1/4 MOA, or a 6 1/2 MOA, which is going to be a far larger dot as you look through this downrange. I prefer the smaller dot, and if I need to feel it a little bit bigger, I just crank up the brightness setting on it. Now between the two, there is going to be a little bit of a size difference. We'll go ahead and take a look at these things right here so you can take a good look at them and see that the Holosun does have a little bit more material to it when it comes to the housing right there. So you're going to have a little bit more material. Try to get these the best view that I can for you right here. It's just going to be a little bit wider across the housing and a little bit wider as it kind of sweeps back into the side right there, as you can see them side by side. Either way, they are both extremely small and they are both extremely durable. Let's quickly talk about price point, because they do come in quite a bit different. So the Holosun 507C X2 now comes in right about $310. And then if the green one is the one you want, it's a little bit more. As far as the RMR goes, I've seen the Type 2s anywhere from $450 to $600, depending on if they're in stock, if there's any sales or anything else going on. Either way, they are both extremely durable and extremely well proven at this point. Give you guys a good look side by side. You can see that there is a slight bit more of that blue hueing on the RMR to the right as compared to the glass on the left there, which is the Holosun, which is just a tad bit more clear. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about that range footage, how these things perform, and which one may fit your needs. Well, now that you have a really good idea of the specs and similarities and differences between these two, let's talk about how they perform out there in the range, what they look like, and kind of how they work out there. Now, some of this footage is a little bit different. It was shot in different frame rates before getting my new camera and all this stuff. So if it looks a little funky, like maybe it looks like it's sped up or something, that's not me doing that. That's because I filmed it in a lower frame rate, and I'm now editing in 60 frames a second, which can kind of make some of that stuff look weird. So bear with me on that. Now, getting right into the stuff for the RMR right here. Now, as you look through this thing, you're gonna notice it has a little bit of a bluish hue to it, and that is for that emitter to shine on that glass in there and have a very long battery life. It's a little bit more noticeable on the RMR than some other optics out there. And you're also going to notice a very slight, almost non-noticeable bit of magnification. Either way though, that glass is going to be exceptionally clear coming out of those people from Trijicon. They do a great job. Now, as far as operation out there, you've got your buttons on the left and the right for your up and down in your brightness settings. They are very easy to get to, even one-handed if you have to come over that pistol. It just makes it really easy. They do have a tactile feel to them, but they are made out of a nice, kind of that solid material like you saw up close. Now, that durability on the RMR is pretty much second to none. If you have any questions about durability, watch Aaron Cowan over at Sage Dynamics durability testing on these optics. you pretty much figure out everything you need to know. As far as view, and you're looking through this downrange, you will have a slight and very minimal obstruction from the housing right there, even if you are kind of looking at an angle, because it is very thin in its overall design. If there's one big kick in the pants with the RMR, is that the battery is underneath and you have to actually remove the optic each time to change the battery and then reconfirm 0. But if you really think about it, anytime you're changing a battery or manipulating an optic, you should probably be double checking that 0 anyways. After all, these are electronics and things can happen. Now that 507C from the people over at Holosun, this is becoming one of my favorite optics out there on the range. The fact that it's got that dual power source is absolutely awesome. That massive battery power life is absolutely a huge positive. The fact that we have both adjustments for our brightness settings on the same side, so you can just reach up with a thumb and go up or down, is definitely a great option. And of course, that reticle. I really like that EOTech-ish kind of styled reticle, which is weird because I don't necessarily really like it on a rifle, but for some odd reason on the pistol, I really do like it because it provides so much feedback for your eye, especially when you start to shoot at longer distances. Now there is slightly less of that kind of blue hueing on the 507C, at least to my eye. But as you're looking through it, if you get off at an angle a little bit, say you're kind of looking weird through it like that, which could be possible out there in the world, you will see a little bit more of an obstruction because of how wide the actual housing is and how it's designed, but it is very minimal. Now we do have a few real standout features on both of these. For that RMR, it's going to be that durability. It's US made, and it is by far one of the most battle-proven optics there is out there. Now for the 507C, one is gonna be that price point, two, the battery tray being underneath of it, and the ease of overall adjustments having all of those buttons on the same side. Now, if there's one big kick in the pants for two of them, the Holosun's made in China. It is not a US made optic, but it is far cheaper. Now, the kick in the pants for the Trijicon is going to be, it is expensive. It is probably around $200 or more expensive than the Holosun 507C, which may put it out of some people's price range. Now, I absolutely enjoy both of those optics. I have a few of the Trijicons and I have about 6 or 7 of the Holosuns at this point, every one of which I've had a great experience with. The only difference between the two really in durability is the RMR is going to take a little bit more of a beating from everything that I've seen, but that Holosun is coming in at about $309, where that RMR is coming in anywhere from like $450 to $550, even $600 plus, depending on where you find it and if it's going to be in stock. Both of these red dots are going to give you a ton of life and a ton of use out there, whether you're using it for work or you're using it out there for competition or just some good old-fashioned fun on the range. Now that you've had a good chance to see these side by side, get the specs on them, and kind of see some of that range footage, hopefully that'll help you make a decision on if you are looking for one or the other. Quite honestly, either one of them, you're probably going to be happy and you're going to get years of service out of it as long as you treat the thing right. Well, that's what I have for you today. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Double check you are subscribed, because some people have been unsubscribed unknowingly. Turn those bell notification icons on, give the video a like, and leave me a comment down below on which optic you may be leaning towards, or if you have a completely different one that is your favorite. Guys, get out there and have some fun, find some solid training if you are new to the 2A game, and remember, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. I will see you guys on the next one.